How late were you up last night? Well, unless you're working the overnight shift at the bakery, I'm willing to bet it wasn't as late as Senators Jim Risch and Mike Crapo. 4 a.m. That's what time the Senate squeaked through the $3.5 trillion budget resolution. 4 a.m. I know it's like 2 a.m. here, so not much of a difference, but still, we'll give them credit for that. Both Risch and Crapo were part of the 49 no votes on that, but it took 14 hours to get to that vote. And this was immediately following the passage of the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. Both Idaho Senators Crapo and Risch voted yes on that one, joining 17 of their Republican colleagues. Well, shortly after that happened, Kathy in Boise sent this text message to us and asked how much of that, money in the infrastructure bill, how much of that is headed to Idaho? Okay, so 1.2 trillion. Let's get to 1.2 trillion. Getting all my numbers confused. Let's get to it. According to Senator Mike Crapo, who is a ranking member of the Senate Finance Committee, this is how Idaho's share of that $1.2 trillion would break down. $1.9 billion to construct, rebuild, and maintain roads and highways, $213 million for drinking water and wastewater infrastructure, $225 million for bridge construction, maintenance, and repair, which apparently we need a lot of here in Idaho, and $100 million for broadband expansion, with the potential for some extra funding thrown in. Now, in addition, Idaho would receive funding as part of several other nationwide programs, which means we'd have to share it so we can get a piece of these dollars here. $3.3 billion for wildland firefighting efforts, $5.75 billion for natural resources infrastructure, which includes fire management and reduction, $25 billion for additional airport improvement projects, and there's an unknown amount out there for a 3-year reauthorization of the Secure Rural Schools program, again, which Idaho has plenty of. Statement from Senator Crapo said, this bill, this $1.2 trillion, does not raise taxes, but instead it reprioritizes the use of certain unused COVID relief funds, takes them away from bailouts and idle funds, shifting them toward supply-side investments that will provide benefits to Idahoans for many years. This explains why he supported it. The infrastructure bill is still going to need to pass the House, though, and be signed by President Biden. Then would have to be allocated by Idaho's legislature. So it's going to take some time before we see any of that funding funneled into the state and put to use. The House is already on vacation, but is expected to make a short return to D.C. on August 23rd just to take up this bill. Now, this bill is separate of the $3.5 trillion budget resolution, different bill. The finer details of that decade-dispersing monster spending bill are still being worked out, but the Senate was successful in passing it. Basically the blueprint, by a strict party line vote of 50 to 49. And in doing so, they also avoided a filibuster by Republicans. And it includes things like funding for childcare, paid family leave, public housing, and efforts to combat climate change, just to name a few. Both Crapo and Risch claim it was a socialist wish list. It's going to tax and spend our country into fiscal ruin and do long-term damage to our economy.